friends, welcome back. We are live again, and today we're going to be building something super awesome, something that I'm really excited about. Today we are going to be talking about building a medical website that patients can actually trust, that clients can actually trust. And the reason I feel this is so important.
We are live again.
Echo. Anyways, I feel like one of the reasons I wanted to talk about trust as a topic right here is because you see so many websites that UI UX designers make, and you'll see them on sites like these on Behance, Dribble, wherever you're going to find your inspiration from, or Instagram. And I feel like one of the really important things that we don't think about is trust, because at the end of the day, you are building this product or service website or an app which is promoting something, which is getting the users to buy, or even for free, trust into something, buy into something. And I feel like it becomes really important when you're doing that to make sure trust is always there. And today we're going to tackle a bunch of techniques that makes sure the element of trust is always there, because you see crazy design trends come and go, and people making all sorts of weird and not weird, really normal things. And at some point, the trends and the UI UX innovation that takes place can put risk to the trust element of things, because at the end of the day, you have these people walking in that are completely new, these users, and you're asking them to trust something that is extremely new to them. So I feel like today is going to be the perfect video to balance the word trust and also to balance modern web design. This is going to be the perfect crash course on how to take a web design and to put in the element of innovation so that you are put apart in the industry as a UI UX designer, but also we're going to make sure the element of trust is always there, because this is so missing from all the users. Sam says this looks minimalistic. It absolutely does, but let's just talk about what MediFred looks like. I feel like this goes from minimalistic, this goes from the whole blobby feel. So we're going to cover a couple of elements today, and this website is perfectly built for that. This goes from the blobby feel to this very drastic clear blue feel, and this is just really peaceful, really calming, to this mission, vision, aim, really aligned field. And I feel like this is my favorite section of all. This looks pretty plain. You could add a couple of illustrations. I think I have. Hold on, this is really weird, freaking me out. This was supposed to be inside our MacBook Pro 1. Look at me, epic fail. Make a meme out of this, somebody, please. I'm waiting for the day somebody makes a meme out of me. I really want to see that. I do. Hold on, give me a moment. This is embarrassing. Now you know what not to do. Don't go live presenting your stuff and only have half of the stuff there. So this is my favorite section of all. It goes from minimalistic to a very square, clean, illustrative feel. And I feel like if I saw this on an actual website, I would not only trust, because we have a couple of blue and black and that sort of thing happening with the color scheme, but also I feel like this is perfectly the balance of innovation and trust. So I feel like this is going to be the perfect crash course on those two topics. Let's get started with that. So now that we know what we're building, let's get started building out this site. The way we're going to do this is, obviously, if you don't have Figma installed, make sure to go to figma.com/downloads. I'm saying this as if it's a partnership. It might be. Figma, please sponsor me. But in all seriousness, I feel like we need to get started and download Figma if you haven't yet. Another element that I would want to add over here is all of the images that we're using today, this guy, all of these illustrations, and all of these super duper cool images are available completely for free to any and every one of you who joins the Discord group that is in the description. It is our best Discord community in the world. It's the best UI UX design community in the world, and you can find all of the assets to all of the live streams that we're doing right here inside of the Discord community. So I feel like you have to get all of these assets to really get into the feel of building out this actual product, even using this in your portfolio website. Even if you're doing that, you have my blessing. Let's just get started with the actual website itself. If you want the assets, they are linked in the description in the Discord groups. So with that said, let's go. You're going to click on plus, as always, to create a new design file, and then we're going to get started. So the way we're going to do this is, let's just create simple blobs today. So I feel like this first element is going to be all about blobs and the perfect, most peaceful, most calm appeal we can have. Because in the very beginning, sometimes there's way too much going on and it becomes overloaded and it becomes confusing, and users really don't have an idea of what's going on, and that sort of throws a tornado in your really, really peaceful UI. So I feel like this first element is dedicated to blobs. We're doing this in sections, and we're going to build out a couple of blobs, one over here, and I feel like this is the perfect shadow to this image as well. So while we do that, I also want to get all of these assets right here downloaded. So these are the assets that we're going to use for this one. Let's just download all of the images that we're using for this UI, and then that can be a really good starting point. We only really need the fourth one for now, but let's just download all of them because that's going to be an important element in this stream. So with that done, let's get started. Let me close up everything else. And now we are going to get started by creating a simple frame. So before you go off and create a random frame that's any dimension by any dimension, it would be a good idea over here to have a frame which is MacBook Pro 1512 by 982 pixels. And the reason it's such a good idea is because when you go on to prototype your frame, if you have these exact dimensions preset into the MacBook Pro 14 or 16, now you can actually have this really, really nice laptop loader with which you can sort of watch what's going on and just engage with this UI as a user. Look at me knocking off mics and stuff, but you can basically have a really, really nice way to show off your UI to the user if you have the right MacBook Pro frame or any frame from the frames section on the right side in Figma. So this is just a lifesaver. With that done, let's now get started with the blobs. So I feel like blobs are such an integral part of building out UIs, and people miss these all the time. Go to the pen tool, really, really simple stuff. Click on a point and then just take over your cursor to another point. Put your cursor back on this point, but do not leave the cursor. This is a mistake everyone makes. Do not leave the cursor. Tilt it about, and when you have this weird curve, I feel like it is at this point that you can just create whatever you want. So this is just basic pen tool shapes, and this is the good thing about a frame. If you are working with a frame, everything that is outside of this frame will automatically get ignored, which helps us in this case. But if you were working with a group, all of this would be visibly seen. So that's an important difference between frames and groups. Now that that is done, let's add a fill. This fill is going to be blue, and I just have to mention over here, we're working with a completely blue to black color scheme, and the reason we're doing that is because at some point blue becomes the color when it comes to the word trust, and this is, every color in the color wheel has a certain energy to it, and when you're working with that energy instead of against it, now you have a much easier grasp of the UX. So I feel like blue is just universally the color for trust, and so we're just going to go very, very heavy on that. Of course, our highlights are going to be light blue, so we're just going to get a really, really light shade of blue. Doesn't exactly matter which shade we get, as long as it's trustworthy and it looks nice enough. So I feel like this is just really, really simple stuff. I also have to add over here, if you double click on the blob, now you have all of these points that you can sort of move around and work with in order to have a really, really nice UI. So I feel like this is looking pretty, and this does look amazing. This is our first blob, and now that we have this out of the way, we also need to have our logo ready. So I feel like the logo is just really, really simple Montserrat bold fonts. So let's just type out MEDIFRED, and with that out of the way, we're just going to go over here and we're going to change this to uppercase. Let's change the font family to Montserrat, and that will automatically give us a lot of really, really nice options. And now when we go over here to this section, we also have the smaller text option, and we're going to capitalize M and capitalize F, and that's just going to give us the capital logo that we've been working with. The font size obviously needs to increase. We're going to bring this up to 64. Font weight needs to go up to bold, but you can't use the exact shade of 0000 black over here. We're leaning heavily into the blue color scheme of things. So whatever blue you've picked for the blob, you're just going to select that from the color palette on this page, and then you're going to make this a really dark shade of that blue. And this makes it much easier for the blue to blend, and it just makes much more sense when you're designing a real world UI. I feel like we just went way too big with this one, so we need to make it smaller, obviously. Let's make this smaller, put it at 40. And now we're going to do a bunch of really small navigation links. So this is the navigation bar and it has a bunch of links. Let's get navigation links. What are the links? Home, about us, treatments, know your doctor, something. And I'm going to show you the quickest hack to make a navigation bar and to make it work. Let's go. Click on the T tool to type some text out. Type out your very first heading. Let's do home. Now you're going to copy this and you're going to Control V and paste it. Now that you have two of these, you're going to press Shift and you're going to select both of these at the same time. You're going to copy and paste these once again, and you're going to have two more. So we're just going to select these and get them on the other side. And again, we're going to paste these once again. So we're going to get two more and we're going to place these right here. And now we're going to press Shift, select all of these at the same time and add an auto layout. And with that, ladies and gentlemen, we have this really nice, really usable navigation bar ready in the quickest, easiest way possible. I feel like you can change a bunch of these properties by their own. So you can press Shift and then you can maybe reduce the font size to 20 pixels. Font weight can get down to medium. The font frame, basically can increase or decrease the space between elements. Let's just put these over here, and now we're going to add a bunch of these. So home, about us, treatments, know your doctor, testimonials. Home, let's just type these out. About us, let's do testimonials. We also have know your doctor, treatments. I feel like I messed up the order, but it's fine. Know your doctor, wow, I am really slow and terrible at typing. This is proving to be the most exposing live stream of all times. This is incredibly weird. Treatments. I can sit in front of a screen and easily struggle with typing the most basic stuff, and that can be an annoying part of this channel. I do apologize for that. But with that out of the way, I feel like we have gotten all of the navigation bar elements ready with us. Font size is a little too big, so we're going to have to reduce that, bring it down to 16, and obviously make it smaller. Select the frame by itself, bring this over to the right side, and with that out of the way, we are done with the navigation bar. So that is it for the navigation bar. I feel like it just assembled itself really quickly. The next thing we're going to do is obviously add another blob, because of course blobs plus blobs equals blob joy. So the simplest way you can do this is just go to your file folder, whatever system you're working with, and get the image that we just downloaded, and I'm going to show you why that's really useful for this blob tutorial in just a bit. So we're just going to get this image right here, and it's automatically shaped in the shape of a blob. So we're just going to copy and paste this one more time, and we're going to add another. Hold up, we can basically bring this shape right here. You can increase the exposure if you want to, and this just makes the whole thing black, and you're going to love what I'm just about to do. So you're just going to create a simple square. I haven't really done this before, but we're trying something new today. Hold on. Let's select them both, go over to the top. I'm not sure if this is going to work, but if it does, it's going to be amazing. And you're going to click on intersect section. And now you can basically, oops, I feel like we messed that one up. That got out of our hands really quickly. Exclude, nope. Anyways, this is not working. This is clearly an idea gone wrong. My point in the beginning was the way we're going to build out this blob is we're going to go over here to the bottom and click on the pen tool, of course, and get these circles up in here. So let's just really quickly bring these guys out, and we're going to just align these perfectly. Let's just let the pen flow wherever it does. It doesn't have to look perfect, but it has to be a little bit similar, if not very similar, to the blob itself. So we just need to get that out of the way. Let's just bring this over here, and with that we have a blob that's going to work for us now. So I feel like with this blob we can add a fill, and this can function really well with our image. We're going to drag this image down, right click, send it to the back, and we're going to change the color back to the light blue that we were using. And this is where you're going to realize that this stethoscope, the blue that we've been using for a really long time now, are just coming in a really good full circle moment. And you can just put this in the background. You can just put this blob in the background here as well. Let's just bring this guy out here, and we can just put this in the background, right click, send to back, and you can just put this wherever you'd like. It doesn't really matter at this point. Wow, I'm out of charging as well. Everything that could go wrong does on this stream. Give me a moment. And we're back again. Thank you for that excruciatingly long wait. Now that we have this blob ready with us, charge please. We're going to select this guy, and we're going to add a drop shadow. And what the drop shadow is going to do, not export, we're going to add an effect of drop shadow, and this drop shadow is going to shadow, basically just shadow the thing that we've been working with. We're going to shift this guy to the top, to the right, and we're going to remove any blur at all. Click on show behind transparent areas. This is going to help us a lot. And we could increase the spread, but that would just work out really weird for us. So you can just bring this down to 0. Let's change this color to the blue that we've been using. And this blue can now automatically go to an even lighter shade. Or you can just change this shade to be a little bit darker. Check this out. This is nice. And now we have this really cool, really easy to look at, simple plain UI. So I feel like minimalist is a theme that we're working with, but we're also going for really smooth clarity, trustable, easy to look at UIs. So I feel like this is the perfect color palette that we're going to be following for today. And you are starting to see the way we're assembling peace and the way we're assembling trust with this one. Now that this is out of the way, we're going to add a heading. This heading is going to talk about access healthcare anytime, anywhere with our platform. Look at me being salesy, talking about a whole damn heading. Wow, I'm just forgetting words left and right now. Access healthcare anytime, anywhere with our platform. Let's see if I can type this out. Access healthcare anytime, anywhere with our platform. And with that out of the way, let's change the font to the one that we're going to use for today, which is Playfair Display. So Playfair Display and Montserrat are combinations that go well together every single time. These are very reliable, very simple, have been used for a really long time, and are never going to disappoint you. If you're just getting started, this is the perfect starting point. You can obviously capitalize text with sentence case, increase the font weight, increase the font size. Look at this. This is already starting to look really cool. This is coming together so well, you guys. Check it out. This looks incredible. Check it out. We're done. How cool does this look? This genuinely looks like something I would sell to a client. This is just coming together exceptionally well. Like I do hate blowing my own trumpet, but come on, this is awesome. Come on, if you're watching live, comment this is awesome, because I feel like this is just coming together so well in like 15 minutes of streaming. Come on, you have to comment this is great. Come on, I need the ego boost. Come on, please, ego boost. Anyways, this is the description that we're going to use now. Let's just copy this description, because I can promise you every single person who's watching will run away if I take the time to type all of this out. I'm that slow. Just pause the video right here and copy this out if you need to. And with that done, let's just paste this text here. Oops, you know what? Let's just create a new text box, and we're just going to paste this text here. So I feel like a first approach was fine as well. Let's just paste this here. So this is just Montserrat regular at a font size of 19. Really simple stuff. With that done, let's just increase the font size one last time. And now that we have the font size ready, our platform, let's just add this description over here. So I feel like this is just really simple stuff done in a couple of seconds. And the next thing we're going to do is build out our call to action button, which is also going to be fun. Before we do that, I feel like we need to highlight the important word wow, I can't spell time anywhere with our platform. I feel like platform is the word we need to highlight here. So we're just going to get a blue that we've been using, maybe make it a little bit darker just so it just lands on theme for us. We can change this to bold italics because that just brings everything to a chef's kiss level. But check this out, this is actually looking pretty damn nice. Now we're going to build out our call to action button, which is going to say contact now. We're going to type out CONTACT now. And I was inclined on Montserrat, but honestly, Play Fair Display looks awesome as well. Montserrat, wow. Let's just bring this down to semi-bold. Bring the font size down to 24, and we're going to right click, frame this selection, add a layout. Let's add a little bit of padding over here, add a little bit of padding over here, and add a fill here as well. Let's change this to blue. You can change the color to a pure black, but I would recommend against it. Let's just use the blue black that we've been using. You could also work with white, but I feel like for that to happen, you would have to change the button's color to a really, really dark shade, which I'm personally against for now. So we're just going to change this to black. I feel like this is just really, really peaceful, really, really nice, and this would just look so good on a real medical website. Like, this is just a really, really pretty nice UI. Check it out, it looks amazing. This is our first hero section for the trustworthy site of the day. The next section that we're building out is even more trustworthy. I feel like these demos are much improved when I'm actually building these on stream. For some reason, it's just the energy of the stream. I build out so much better when I'm streaming. Check this out. This is the stuff that I've built out right now. This was what we had planned, and ta-da. I maybe it's because I'm doing this twice, or maybe it's just the energy of the stream, but I feel like I do much better on stream when building stuff out. Now we're going to build out the second section, which is actually much prettier. If you loved the last one, you're going to love this one. Let's build out this simple cards section. So we're just going to go over here, create a simple frame. We're going to bring this down, make sure the width is exactly the same as the width of the entire section. Bring this into frame, change the color to the light blue that we've been using. Just do one of these light blues. I feel like this is even better. EBFCFF, if anyone was wondering. And now we're just going to center line this whole thing. You can just drag this out to be perfectly aligned in the center if you need to. And the next thing we're going to do is we're going to go over here and we're going to select three of these options. Three of these options which we were selecting is this, and this. So we're just going to go over here. All of these are images that you can get from our Discord group. I don't think I'm getting the right images. These are the three right images. Let's just get these images. Let's just get them out. All right, come out please. Now that we have these images with us, let's add an auto layout because, oops, align them in a single line because who doesn't need single lines? And we're going to change this to say hug content. And with that, we have our cards visual layout ready with us. I will dissolve the auto layout for now because for cards, you need to have individual auto layouts on each card, but we're going to bring this back in later. Now that we have this frame ready with us, we can dissolve it into a group and then right click and say ungroup. And with that, we have all of these cards ready with us. When we are done with the cards, the next thing to do automatically is to whip out the title and the description and just do what we need to do. So let's just align this perfectly. Oops, did the wrong thing. Align it perfectly in the center of the screen. And now we're going to type out the title and description. Let's just do Doctor on Call. Add this over here, Doctor on Call. Let's change this to capitalized text. Obviously, I don't know what to call it until now, but I'm pretty sure it's this guy right here. We're going to change the font size to 28. Oops, 28. Bring this right here in the center. Make sure all of these images are inside of your frame because if they're not, it's going to cause a bunch of problems. Let's also add a little bit of description. Of course, I'm not going to type it out. feel free to pause the video and type this text out yourself, but for God's sake, I do not have the patience to do that. Right click and type out paste and match text, and now we have the same exact text as this. We're going to work with this text to make it into something that we like, which is going to be font size 19, font weight regular, and font case is going to be basic nothing. And we're just going to make this a little bit smaller, align text in the center, align it perfectly in the center again. You can make this wider or thinner as you need, doesn't really matter. And then we're also going to get our call to action button from the top, copy it, bring that down here, and then paste it here inside of the center. And now we're just going to align this perfectly in the center. Done. Let's just shift this to be a little bit smaller, and once that is done, let's just press shift, select all of these elements at once, and now we have our entire card with us. You can add like a white padding here if you need to, but I feel like this is fine. Make sure the title is also inside of your frame, and now we're just going to select this frame, copy and paste it once again, bring this right here. Don't worry if the image is just getting overlapped, we're going to copy and paste this, bring this right here. Again, if the image gets overlapped, do not fret. We're going to select this image, bring it into the group, and get rid of the last image that we were working with. And similarly, we're going to select this image, get it in the group, get rid of the last image that we were working with. Check this out, ladies and gentlemen, we have all of the cards. Let's select all of this text, copy and paste it, because the font style is going to stay the same. Let's bring this down here. I feel like this is such a pretty UI. Like, honestly, this is just coming together even better than I expected. Like, this is so pretty. Come on, pay me a compliment at this point. All right, let's just align these in 3 lines, 4 lines, whatever it is that you need to do. You can obviously shift this button down to the bottom if the spacing requires it for you to do that. The next thing we're going to do is select this text and paste it back there. Let's just select this text, copy, and go to the back, paste this text right here. Another thing that we're going to do is copy this headline, which is pay online. Let's change this back to pay online, align it perfectly in the center, and with that, ladies and gentlemen, we have our cards ready. Before I move on to the next section, can we just take a moment to acknowledge how calm and peaceful and just pretty it looks? Because this is the stuff that builds trust. This is the stuff that's taking years and years of web design, taking all of these trends that have came in and gone, keeping the best, tossing out the rest, and building out an actual UI that users would love to use. I love the way this works. Like, this is honestly so pretty. Amazing stuff. All right, with that said, let's just now go and build out the next section, which is the mission, vision, and aim. So we're just going to get our image from over here again. This is going to be the image that we're using for this UI. You can increase the width and height. Make sure the width and height are locked with each other so they scale proportionately. And then we're going to copy out a title, a description, and a call to action button and reuse them. So we're just going to copy these and then reuse them over here. For this title, it was thin playfair display tilted on its axis, which is italics. For this title, we also had the same, but in the implementation that we've done on stream, this is the stuff that we've worked with, and I don't want to mess that up because this is going to be consistent across every single section we build. So we're just going to copy these by pressing shift, go down here and click on paste here, and when we add this over here, check it out, it already looks so insanely pretty. Wow, how cool is that? Let's just align this perfectly over here, align this perfectly here as well, and align this button in here as well. And now we're just going to copy and paste text to replace, because let's be honest, text doesn't matter. I also want to talk about paste here in matte style. Let's just bring this over here to the top. Let's just, I feel like I'm messing this up. Wow. Let's just bring this right here. And now we're going to select a word that's really important to us and just make it properly highlighted. So this is going to be bold italics. Change the color to blue. check it out. It actually looks really, really pretty. Another thing that I want to talk about here is an alternative style of secondary buttons. So this button isn't the same as this button. This button is using a stroke while this button is just plain filled. So we're just going to do this version here as well. So we're going to get rid of the fill if you want to build that version out, and add a simple stroke. The stroke color has to be exactly the same as the color of the text, which is this one, 002 025. And now we have our really, really simple mission, vision and aim section ready with us. Check it out. It already looks incredible. I can't believe I'm building this out. Honest to God, 2 years ago, this would not have been me as the UI UX designer. This is entirely shocking to me as well. The next thing we're doing after a great deal of ego boosting is find a doctor. So let's just do the next trend, which is taking these random rectangles and then just putting them in place, making them trustworthy, making them work while giving the form a dark intonation. So we're going to work with that. First thing we need to do is obviously build out our rectangles. Select your frame, drag it down. Now we have a rectangle. And so the next thing we're going to do is obviously select this square, bring it over here, build out a square that's sort of going out of the screen. Don't worry if it leaves the screen, everything automatically does. Let's build out another rectangle here as well, and we're going to just add blue, plain blue. Doesn't matter which shade of blue it is. You can use this guy, you can use another shade, but I'm just using this because it is coming from inside of our frame. You can also use the blue that's in this guy's shirt. Just select this color, go to eyedropper and select this color, click on this, and you'll be done. It's that simple. Once you're done with that, you're going to type out a title, which is a find a doctor. Let's get the title that we were using for this section. So for every alternate section, we are using Montserrat capitalized as our title. Let's just bring this guy down here, increase the font size to 64 because that's the one we're working with now. Change the text to say find a doctor, find a doctor. And now we're going to build out our actual form. This form is just really, really simple stuff. Location, specialization, date, time, description, just the simplest stuff in the world. Now we're going to select this text, copy and paste it once again, zoom in, bring this down here, change the thickness to a regular, change the title to say your location, and we're going to build out a location checkbox. So we're just going to reduce the size to 40, bring this down here and create a square. So let's just create a simple square, change the color for this to the blue black that we've been using. Don't use pure black. You can use black if you want, but I'm just going to use the blue black because I feel like it just blends with this really, really well. And I feel like we also need to have the blinky cursor as it comes with every single of these check boxes, entry boxes. So we're just going to increase the width of the stroke, increase the stroke weight, which is to 4. And the next thing we're going to do, if the font was rounded off, by the way, if the font we were using, I want to give you here a side quest. If the font that we were using was rounded off like Nunito is, then you would go to this section and just round this off with the round ends, and then round this border radius off a little bit as well, and then that would be your rounded feel. But I feel like we're not doing that right now, so we're just going to Control Z a couple of times, and with that, check it out. Your location box is done, and then we're just going to basically copy this by pressing Shift, and then select a bunch of these by pressing Shift, and then copy and paste them once again. This is going to be specialization. Let's just type out specialization, and then we're going to change this guy because this is going to be a checkbox instead of an entry box to a triangle. So just go over here, click on polygon, bring this guy out here, change the degree angle to 180, add a border radius because who doesn't like cute rounded off things, increase the height or width if you need to, change the color to white, bring this out here, and with that, check it out. Specialization, we've made it happen. The next thing that we're doing, obviously, is building out the date and time section. So the way we're going to do that is just copy this whole entire thing, paste it back in here again, let's change this to say date and time. So we're just going to copy and paste it and say date and time, and we're just going to select that as well. The last thing that we're building out is description. So let's just select this guy once over here again by pressing shift, bring this down and change this to say description. And just we're going to do this a whole bunch of times. You can change this as you'd want to. Let's add a little bit of height over here, and you can change the height or weight as you need to. I feel like this is just fine for our current use case, but feel free to change that if you'd like. We're also going to add a submit button. Let's just select this button, copy and paste it, because we've already used these filled boxes, so it would be difficult to distinguish if we were using that sort of a button, the one at the top. So we're just going to bring this down here, add it at the bottom, change the text to say submit. And with that, check it out, you guys. We have successfully built our very own medical site that looks not only nice, but also very, very trustworthy, very, very clean, very, very minimalistic, very, very simple, and really, really amazing. Next and lastly, today we're going to build out the footer, which is just really, really simple stuff. Just add a little bit of height, add a singular frame, increase the width and height, make sure it takes up the entirety of the width and height. We're going to change this to 100, add a fill, make this fill dark, so just use the darkest shade that we've been using all along. You can also use black if you need to. Let's change this to say all rights reserved, copyright 2025 medifred.com. So this is just text you can just pause and copy, basic copyright stuff. Let's copy this text, bring this down here, paste here, and this is just really, really simple styling as well. Montserrat semi-bold 16 pixels, center aligned, of course. We're also going to do a couple of social media or other link options. So let's just copy and paste this back here again, and we're going to do 4 of these: about, contact, feedback, and FAQs. So let's just do about, zoom in, copy and paste this a bunch of times, feedback, press shift, select the both of these, copy and paste them again and bring them out here. We're going to have them say feedback and FAQs. Sorry, contact and FAQs. Let's change this text to say contact. I messed up this one again, just swapped it out completely, just like I did the title. Look at me repeating my old patterns. Let's align these perfectly. Change this to say FAQs. You know what, let's just make the A and Q capital as well. Let's select all of these at once, add an auto layout, add a little bit of spacing between each of these, and just align them perfectly over to the left side. You can press Alt and make sure the spacing, which is 50 pixels over here, is made equal with this section as well, but I feel like we don't need to do that because a little bit of spacing is automatically over here, but you can adjust it if you want to. So again, I'm not going to over obsess with each of these elements. You could just make this aligned perfectly, make this hug contents, and now we're able to align stuff in a really, really pretty fashion. Check it out. All rights reserved, medifred.com. And now we're going to present this guy because we're finally done. You can select all of this text, shift it above if you need to, or don't, up to you completely. And now we're going to present this. Wow, what's going on? Check it out. I'm just scribbling this stuff. Crazy. What just happened? That was Figma glitching. How amazing. Let's just close out all of these duplicates, change the prototype, show prototype settings to MacBook Pro 14. Make sure this is always there. You can choose from a couple of different models. Choose the background color if you need to. Check it out, you guys. Super duper cute, super duper peaceful. I'm just going to use black like a normal person. Wow. Let's do the shade of black that we've been using. Nope, plain black it is. Plain black. And with that, ladies and gentlemen, check it out. I'm just going to move myself. Let me just remove myself from the screen because that becomes an encumbrance really, really quickly. Does it not? This is the entire complete medifred UI that we've built out, and of course it has a bunch of really, really cool elements. It goes from the blobs section, blob based hero section, to a really, really clean card section, to a really, really clean and cool mission, vision, and name section. This is the simplest minimalistic site you would ever build. We've built out this really, really cool forms section, which I would love to see in an actual UI design. And finally, a super duper professional, super duper modern footer. This has been one of the most modern, amazing UI designs we've ever done. Minimalistic, completely awesome, something that you can repeat, something that you can work with on your own, of course. All of these images are available in the Discord group. Thank you so much for joining me live. I will see you again really, really soon. I feel like I lost the camera over here, so I'm just going to say to hell with it. This has been the nicest UI in the whole world that I've ever built out. Thank you so much for joining me live. I will see you again really, really soon when my camera comes back, because I've managed to throw it out the window. Alright, love you, bye.